Teresa Sievers had it all. She was a doctor, she had a busy practice, she was married with 2 beautiful children, living in a gorgeous home. But all that changed with this 911 call.
My friend, Teresa Sievers, she's a doctor. I'm a doctor. She came home last night. Her husband is in Connecticut, and she was supposed to go to work at 9 o'clock. She called me, and I was on my way into work, so I swung by, and she's dead on the floor. And there's a hammer at the side, and she's bashed in the back of the head.
Wow. Susan Hendricks spoke with one of the people involved with prosecuting this shocking case.
Dr. Teresa Sievers, a physician loved by many, a mother of 2, brutally murdered in 2015. She left a vacation early with her family so she could go back and see patients. When she walked in her home, she was struck by a hammer and killed. The question, who did it and why? With me is Samantha Sion with the state's attorney's office for 14 years. Samantha, good to see you. Take us back to when you first heard about this murder and what your thought was.
Well, I had heard that a crime had been committed, and I learned, like many people did just from the media, that there was a murder that had happened. And here at the state attorney's office, we were soon informed of some of the details, the early details. And I knew about the murder a short time after she was discovered.
Samantha, as you know, during murders, those closest to the person who is deceased is looked at. And in this case, it was her husband, Mark. He was looked at. He was still on vacation. Something peculiar happened in terms of a phone call with him. If you can discuss that, if you're allowed to.
Well, when Teresa was discovered, she was discovered by a family friend, a doctor, and he is the one who called 911. He also called Mark Sievers, her husband, to let him know that something had happened to Teresa. But he didn't go into details of what had happened since it was a phone call. And this is something that was testified to at trial. So when he told Mark that something had happened to Teresa, what struck that person as odd, which he later testified to at trial, is that Mark didn't ask, was she being taken to the hospital or is she okay? He just was upset. And so it was odd for him to supposedly not know what had happened, but to have that reaction of not asking if treatment was being sought for her.
And sometimes the questions not asked are the most pertinent. There are some bizarre aspects to this case. The husband had a best friend, and we're talking BFFs. They asked each other what they wanted to wear before work. They looked so much alike. They didn't even know if it was them or their friend when they were looking at photos. So those 2 were investigated. Also, there was a 3rd person investigated. I want to talk about the relationship between Dr. Teresa and her husband. Was it a good relationship prior to her death?
Since the family's opted into Marcy's law, I can't discuss their relationship at all.
Okay, we won't discuss the relationship. We do know that they had 2 kids, and we do know she was brutally murdered, and of course, beloved by the community, because as you know, this case was hugely discussed. She also was into holistic medicine and traditional medicine as well, having a lot of YouTube posts and just a very likable person. The question is, was justice served? And we are hoping that it was. What stood out to you finally, Samantha, about this case and how it's different than other cases you have tried? You've been in this business a very long time.
I think one of the things that stood out was so many people could connect to this victim because she was in the prime of her life. She was so well known, so many people had interacted with her. And it's something that you don't expect in this community. You hear that a lot, I know, but we have for the 9th year in a row, the 20th Judicial Circuit for Florida has the lowest crime rate in the state of Florida. And that's a big number, 9 years in a row. So when you have something like this happen in a nice community, upscale community, it's very unexpected, and I think that touched a nerve with the public as well as someone that they could relate to.
Samantha Sion, thank you. It's great to talk to you. And again, we hope that justice is served. We shall see. Thank you.
You're welcome.